Hi everyone. So I'm finally going to tell you guys my labor and delivery story. I'm going to split it up, and the first part will be my home birthing experience and the second part will be my experience at the hospital. So if you guys watched my preview video, you probably saw that my birthing plan didn't go exactly as I wanted, so I'll tell you guys all about it. This video is also good for those who are thinking about having a home birth and worried about things that could go wrong, because in my case something did go wrong, and you'll get to hear about how my midwives handled the situation. Okay, so it was a Monday and I was about 28 weeks and 3 days, and I decided to take a nice long walk that day. It was really hot, and I was noticing that my hands were getting really swollen during the walk to the point that they felt really tight and I could barely bend them. That's never happened before, but I didn't really think anything of it. My walk took about an hour, and when I was supposed to go to my prenatal class afterwards as well, but I just didn't feel like it that day, so I called my friend up and told her to stay home. We're not going to go, I just feel like skipping this one. It wasn't really anything too important anyways, because the last class that I went to, it was stuff that I already knew. So later that evening my husband came home and I told him about my day and how I took a nice long walk, and he actually got mad at me because he was worried that I would be far away from home, and what if my labor started while I was on my walk. So I just reassured him that most people, their water doesn't always break. Only 15% of women have their water break before their contractions, and I would be, I was telling him that I would just be in early labor anyways. Contractions are usually mild, then they're far apart, so I could make my way home no problem. So he felt a little bit better. So later that night, I couldn't sleep. I was getting just a very dull abdominal pain. It almost felt like diarrhea cramps, but they were very mild. So I didn't think anything of it because they weren't coming in waves. It was just like a constant dull pain, and me and my husband were just up chatting, and we couldn't sleep, so we decided to have sex. And about 10 minutes later I felt something pop, and it hurt. I don't know if anyone's told you, but I didn't expect my water breaking to hurt. It felt like, I thought that the baby kicked me really hard, but that would be impossible because his feet are up in my ribs. They're not down in my crotch. So I told my husband that I felt something pop, and he said that he heard something pop. So I was pretty sure that it was my water, but I didn't feel a gush of fluid or anything. So I decided to stand up, and when I stood up, some of the fluid trickled out. It wasn't a lot, and it was clear, so I was happy. So we got up. It was about 4, maybe 3:30, 4 in the morning, something like that. And so we got up and we just started to prepare for the baby to come. And my contractions started a couple minutes later, so it was kind of funny because what my husband feared did happen. I got, my water broke and I got contractions right away, and they were pretty intense. They were coming really close together. They're about 1 or 2 minutes apart. So my husband started pumping up the pool and filling it up with water, and I called my doula right away because I thought, I'll ask her first, see if I'm overreacting. So I call her and I tell her that if my contractions feel like, I just told her my butt really hurt, because the contractions, I only felt it right at the tip of my tailbone. It kind of felt like, when you fall down really hard on your butt, that's what it felt like. and I didn't feel any pain, like abdominal pain. My contractions felt nothing like the Braxton Hicks, which I expected them to. So yeah, I told her about it, and I told her how close the contractions were, and so she said that she would head right over and to call my midwife. And in previous appointments, my midwife would stress not to call her until I'm in really active labor. If my contractions were 5 minutes apart, lasting 1 minute for an hour, and mine were only lasting about 30 seconds, and I was probably only having contractions for the last 10-15 minutes. So, but I felt like they were coming on too strong and too fast. So I called her, and she wanted to talk to me, and she was noticing that I was still talking through my contractions, and she asked me to rate it out of 10, and I said it was about a 5 out of 10. So she said she didn't seem to take me serious, so she said to call her back in half an hour to see if the contractions are lasting longer or if they're getting more painful, and she'll come by afterwards and check my dilation, and if I'm in early labor, that she'll just give me a shot of Gravol, and I could go back to bed, and she'll come back when my contractions are, when I'm more in active labor. So in the meantime, I went into the bathtub and just labored in there for a bit. My doula came over. She helped me out with, the only thing that really helped with the contractions was she would press on my tailbone, which helped a lot. And it really slowed down the labor. My contractions, I think they started to go to every 5 minutes, maybe closer together, but I was glad that they slowed down because they were just like coming right after the other. So I called my midwife shortly after, and I told her that things were about the same. So she came over, and it was about an hour already since my contractions started. And I didn't expect her to bring all her equipment, but she did. She brought, you know, all her oxygen tanks, the resuscitation equipment, everything. And she checked me, and I was already 7 centimeters dilated. So she was really shocked because I don't think she thought I was serious. She probably thought that I was overreacting. So she called the backup midwife to prepare for the birth. And by that time, my husband already had that pool filled up. And by the way, if you guys are going to have a water birth, you might want to only fill up halfway first, and then get in, and then kind of decide what temperature you want the bath at, because I guess my husband assumed that the tub should be hot tub temperature, which is way too hot. I went in there, and I was just, you're already kind of, it's almost like a workout, so you're already hot. You don't want to get into like a hot tub. So the midwife and doula, they were frantically trying to empty water out of the pool and add more cold water, add ice, and it was, it took them a long time to try to regulate it. And so me and my husband were just in the pool, and my contractions were getting really close together. They weren't really too hard to handle. I would say out of a 10, mine are probably about a 7 or 8 to me. And the only thing is, I thought that they were starting to get annoying. Like, you couldn't get a break. It seemed like they were just coming one right after the other, but the intensity wasn't getting any stronger. But I thought it was pretty manageable. If you're doing a home birth, it's really good if you read Anna Mae Gaskin's books. They really help with preparing for home birth, you know, about staying relaxed, keeping your jaw relaxed kind of thing, and to kind of think about it as not being painful, but as kind of a interesting sensation that's happening down there. Yeah, because for me, it almost felt like something was tearing like up inside of you, and it felt like